Have you ever felt like the more emotionally aware you become, the harder it gets to love and be loved? You listen deeply. You communicate clearly. You try not to project your trauma. You even overthink before you speak. And yet, something's missing. You still feel misunderstood, even in your most safe relationships. Why is it so hard? Hi, I'm Udai Harshana, and today we're going to explore a deeply misunderstood truth. Why emotionally intelligent people, the ones who care, reflect, and grow, often struggle the most in relationships. But don't worry, this is not a sad story. It's a powerful, healing one. Covered in this video: why deep empathy often leads to silent suffering, how self-awareness can turn into emotional loneliness, the hidden mismatch between growth and compatibility, why healthy communication isn't enough, and how emotionally intelligent people can find the love they deserve without dimming their light. If you've ever asked, why do I keep feeling emotionally alone even in good relationships? Stay till the end. This is for you. Let's go through each of the 7 parts one by one. Part 1: the double-edged sword of awareness. Emotional intelligence is often celebrated, and rightly so. It's what allows us to understand others, regulate our reactions, and navigate life with clarity. But what no one tells you is that emotional intelligence also makes you more aware of what's not working, even the subtle things. You begin to notice micro-rejections. You hear what's not being said in a conversation. You feel tension in the space between 2 sentences. And that awareness, while powerful, also makes it harder to ignore emotional gaps. You're no longer someone who can just let things go when they hurt. You can't pretend something doesn't matter when it does. You feel everything, even the things your partner might not be emotionally equipped to process. And suddenly, being the emotionally intelligent one doesn't feel like a superpower anymore. It feels like a burden, especially when the person you love doesn't meet you at the same level of depth. Part 2: emotional mismatch in healthy relationships. Not every emotionally intelligent person ends up in a toxic relationship. Sometimes it's a good relationship. On paper, there's kindness, shared goals, mutual respect. But emotionally, you're starving. Why? Because emotional intelligence creates emotional needs. For depth, for attunement, for co-regulation. You don't just want a partner who says the right things. You want someone who feels with you, who pauses when you go silent, who asks, "Are you okay?" Not just, "What's wrong?" This creates a quiet mismatch. Your partner may be caring, but not present. They may be supportive, but not connected. And over time, you begin to feel more alone with them than you ever felt by yourself. And you question yourself. Is it me? Am I expecting too much? Should I just lower my standards? No, you're not too much. You're just someone who wants to feel emotionally met, and that's not a flaw, that's emotional maturity. Part 3: the curse of the caretaker role. Here's what often happens when emotionally intelligent people fall in love. They become the emotional caretakers of the relationship. You check in on your partner's mood. You manage your tone to not trigger them. You over-explain to avoid misunderstandings. You even shrink your needs to protect their peace. But who's checking in on you? Who's making space for your vulnerability, your exhaustion, your silence? The sad truth is, emotional intelligence without mutual emotional support becomes emotional labor. You end up carrying the weight of the relationship alone, not because your partner is cruel, but because they don't see the invisible work you're doing. And slowly, you begin to burn out, not physically, not even mentally, but emotionally. You start to withdraw, even when you're still physically present. This is how relationships die. Not with a fight, but with a quiet emotional disconnection. Part 4: why good communication isn't always enough. One of the biggest myths in modern relationships is, as long as you communicate, everything will be fine. But what if your partner doesn't have the emotional bandwidth to understand what you're communicating? You say, "I feel emotionally disconnected." They hear, "You're blaming me." You say, "I need deeper conversations." They say, "Why can't we just enjoy the moment?" You see the problem? Emotionally intelligent people don't just communicate, they communicate with intent. But if that intent isn't received in the same frequency, it leads to constant misalignment. It's like tuning into a radio station only to hear static. So yes, communication is vital, but communication without shared emotional awareness feels like speaking in a language no one else understands. And that's one of the loneliest feelings in love. Part 5. The pain of outgrowing the relationship. Emotional intelligence comes with emotional growth. You read, you reflect, you heal, you evolve. But what happens when you outgrow your partner emotionally? You stop avoiding hard conversations, you start naming patterns, you no longer tolerate passive aggression or emotional shutdowns, and that shift disrupts the relationship's old equilibrium. Suddenly, your growth is perceived as criticism. Your needs are seen as pressure. Your clarity is labeled as being too intense. And you're left wondering, should I shrink again just to keep the peace? But every time you shrink, you betray yourself. That's the painful paradox of being emotionally intelligent. You're willing to do the work, but you can't do all the work alone. And so, you stand at a crossroads. Stay and self-abandon, or leave and risk loneliness. Neither path feels easy, but only one honors your truth. Part 6. How to find emotionally safe love. Here's the hope. Just because emotionally intelligent people often struggle in love doesn't mean they're destined to suffer. You just need a different kind of love. One rooted in emotional safety, not just surface level compatibility. You need someone who doesn't see your emotional depth as too much, but as a map. Someone who listens to understand, not to reply. Someone who can sit with your silence and not panic. Someone who makes you feel safe in your most unfiltered state. That kind of love exists, but it's rare and it requires patience, not just in finding the right person, but in becoming the kind of person who doesn't settle for less. Because here's the truth. You can't build a safe relationship with someone who's still afraid of their own emotions. You can't create depth with someone who lives on the surface. You can't feel seen by someone who's never seen themselves. Part 7. The gift hidden in your struggle. If you've ever felt like your emotional intelligence is a curse, let this be your reminder. It's not. It's just that most people are not ready for the level of emotional presence you bring. But that doesn't mean you should dial it down. It means you should guard it and share it with those who've earned the right to witness it. You are not too deep. You are not too sensitive. You are not too intense. You are tuned in. And one day, someone will meet you there. Not because you begged them to, but because they want to. Until then, keep doing your inner work. Keep honoring your emotional truth. Because the right kind of love is not found. It's mirrored by who you become. Conclusion. If you've made it this far, chances are you're one of the rare ones. Someone who reflects before they react. Who feels the weight of every word spoken or left unspoken. Someone who isn't afraid to grow, even when it hurts. Let me say this. You are not too much. You're just deep. And you deserve someone who doesn't just understand that, but honors it. So if you've ever been told to stop overthinking or to chill out in love, remember, what feels like a curse is actually your greatest gift. If this video resonated with you, subscribe to Udai Harshana Official for more insights on emotional intelligence, healing, and conscious relationships. We don't just talk psychology here, we talk soul. And if you know someone who's been feeling unseen in their relationships, share this video with them. Let's help more emotionally aware people feel less alone in this world. If you're interested in content like this, you may also want to check out my second YouTube channel, Udai Harshana. I've shared many videos there focused on emotional well-being, reflection, and self-awareness. The channel link is in the description below. Feel free to explore, and I look forward to connecting with you again. Until then, take care of yourself. Thank you, and wishing you a peaceful day.